Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
U.S. Representative Tom Reed paid a visit to the Southern Tier to promote new airport spending projects from the recently passed infrastructure bill. Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst joins us from Corning to break down how local airports plan to use the infrastructure money.
Good evening, Jennifer. Airports like the Elmira Corning Regional Airport are planning massive building projects with their cut of the infrastructure money. The overarching goal is to increase service to the region. Tom Reed stopped by the Elmira Corning Airport to promote the recently passed infrastructure package. With the bill now signed into law, Southern Tier airports are now expected to see an influx of cash.
I was glad to join with my colleagues on the Democratic side to make this historic investment in America.
According to Reed, the Elmira Corning Airport will receive over $8.5 million from the infrastructure bill. Tom Freeman with the Elmira Corning Airport says he will push forward projects to improve the aircraft hangar, the aircraft fire rescue building, and the airport's taxiway.
We literally have shovel-ready projects ready to go with this infrastructure funding, starting 2022.
Freeman says the infrastructure money will help encourage airlines to increase service to the region, a move which would benefit the local economy.
They want to see that a community is committed to their airports. Before they commit the resources to look at adding service in a community, this airport couldn't be better positioned.
It will allow our residents to get on a plane, to have access to cutting-edge technology, improvements in our runway system, and allow those individuals to travel where they need to travel on the world stage in order to access and compete for those jobs and those investments.
New York is set to receive over $930 million for airport improvements. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
Starting today, kids in New York City between the ages of 5 and 11 years old will now have to show proof of vaccination to take part in certain events. Linda Schmidt spoke with parents and a council member the day before the mandate went into effect.
John Sullivan's daughter plays soccer at the Asphalt Green Sports Complex on the Upper East Side. Starting tomorrow, she will have to show proof of at least one shot. The city's vaccine mandate kicks in on Tuesday for 5 to 11-year-olds, and it applies to sports activities, gyms, restaurants, entertainment venues, and some school activities.
She's just going to have to sit out until we can get the shot. Unfortunately, we can't go to dinner either. So it's going to be a quiet Christmas season.
Mayor de Blasio announced the vaccine mandate for 5 to 11-year-olds 1 week ago.
You can't get an appointment to get a vaccine. I think the next appointment, and I've called about 15 places, is December 27th.
Parents have mixed reactions to the mandate, even though their children are vaccinated.
If it's outside, it seems a little strange. Indoors, I can completely understand them.
Until you decide whether or not you're going to do it, you won't be able to come to a facility like this.
Yeah, clearly, that's a problem, right? So that's the choice, and I think that's the problem that we are all going to be facing.
At the Mansion Restaurant at 86th Street and York Avenue, it is about to get even busier for the staff.
It is going to definitely require more staff. It's going to require more attention to detail, and certainly it's going to definitely invite more inspections to come in and see if we're upholding the guidelines.
Staten Island City Councilman Joe Borelli is not anti-vaccine, but strongly disagrees with the city mandate for young children.
Now to give parents, a week's notice to have this, or their kid can't play basketball, or their child can't go to an art program, is beyond unreasonable. It's actually in the child's worst interest. This is not something that's going to benefit the child long term.
Pfizer says its new COVID-19 pill can significantly reduce the risk of severe illness or death from the coronavirus. The pharmaceutical company released new data today saying its COVID antiviral pill cut the risk of hospitalizations or deaths by 89% in a trial for patients at high risk for severe COVID-19. Pfizer says in the 5-day trial, the drug had a high efficacy rate for patients who were treated within the first 3 days of their symptoms. The company also says lab tests show its COVID-19 pill will likely remain effective against all variants, including Omicron. Dangerously strong tornadoes have left at least 88 people dead across 6 states, 74 of those deaths in Kentucky alone. But as recovery efforts continue, the devastation is still sinking in. Caroline Shively has more from Mayfield, Kentucky.
The death toll has jumped once again here in the state of Kentucky, and the governor warns it could be more than a week before we know the final counts.
The good Lord saved us. It was a terrible thing to go through.
Heartache is sweeping the heartland after this weekend's deadly tornadoes crippled communities across 6 states, especially in western Kentucky, where more than 100 people are unaccounted for as of Monday. The state's governor says he expects the number of missing to rise as search crews continue combing through massive piles of debris.
Lost some neighbors in the earth somewhere, and they're still trying to find people.
But with winter temperatures plummeting in the bluegrass state and thousands without electricity, heat, and water, the race is on to get people into shelters. Still, as countless return to where their homes once stood to salvage what they can, police in several counties are responding to reports of looting.
Trash that are breaking into people's houses and stealing their belongings after they just lost everything.
Meanwhile, emergency teams investigating a Mayfield, Kentucky candle factory for any human remains now sharing positive news.
We've had human interaction with all of the debris on the site with canines. We have a high level of confidence there is nobody in this building. There's no one left in this building.
Dozens of employees were working at the facility when it was flattened by one of the twisters. I want to step out and show you the house behind me. More than 1,000 homes in the state have been completely flattened. Thousands more look just like this one, barely hanging on by a thread. And that's why President Biden is coming to the state on Wednesday to get a first-hand look at the devastation. In Mayfield, Kentucky, I'm Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Here are some ways to help the people affected by the record-breaking tornadoes this past weekend. The American Red Cross is on the scene helping to evaluate the damage. You can donate money by texting Red Cross to 90999 or donating blood at your local Red Cross facility. Generous donors can also put their funds towards the Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund, started by Governor Andy Beshear, the Salvation Army, Samaritan's Purse, and others. The Radisson Hotel in Corning will be closing its doors for the first 2 months of the new year. The hotel chain announced over the weekend that the Corning location will be closing due to increased COVID cases and low business demand during the winter months. In a statement, the hotel said the decision was made with the best intentions to keep staff and residents safe. The Radisson will reopen at the beginning of March. Local art institutions are set to receive thousands of dollars in grants from the state. The money is coming from the New York State Council on the Arts and will be used to help art organizations recover from the pandemic. Local recipients of grant money include the Arts Council of the Southern Finger Lakes, Corning Painted Post Civic Music Association, and the Rockwell Museum. More than $45 million will be distributed across the state. A big celebration for New York City Football Club. Mayor Bill de Blasio holding a special ceremony on the steps of City Hall to celebrate the team's big win. They won the 2021 MLS Cup after beating the Portland Timbers in a shootout. It's the first time in team history that they've been crowned MLS champions. Still ahead tonight, the FBI warning about purchasing gift cards.
Target was number 1, Google Play was number 2. And shockingly to me, Walmart was actually the least at only $6 million. So Walmart was actually the least in this whole scam.
How thieves may be coming up with ways to steal money right off your cards.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. It was a little bit cooler today than yesterday, with temperatures about 5 to 10 degrees cooler in the afternoon than it was yesterday, and we did have a lot of cloud cover. We are expecting, though, a warming trend for the next couple of days. A warm front will lift to the north out ahead of another storm system, and so tomorrow it will be a little bit warmer than normal, and there will be the possibility of showers. By Thursday, we're going to run about 20 degrees above normal. And then over the weekend, a stronger cold front comes in, and it will bring some soggy conditions along with a little bit cooler air. And so for tomorrow, there will be a few showers out ahead of this warm front, the leading edge of warmer air that will start to lift to the north right over our area, and that's going to result in those temperatures going to be about 10 to 20 degrees above normal for the end of the week. So for tonight, we do drop down to around 28 degrees, so it's going to be pretty cold, but take a look at these temperatures. They're going to be rising right after the midnight hour through the dawn hours and through out the day tomorrow. Readings will be around 39 degrees at 9 o'clock. If you're going to take a walk outside, it looks like you may even need that umbrella, as we do have the possibility of a few showers in the early afternoon into the evening hours. By 5 o'clock, our reading will be around 45 degrees. So there is the possibility of a few showers on Wednesday as well as Thursday as this front lifts to the north. And then finally, the cold front comes in over the weekend, and we're going to have more chances of rain for your Saturday and Sunday, and we are expecting a little bit cooler readings as well. So our future radar is showing not a lot of activity tonight. In fact, I think we'll just start off with a little bit of cloud cover, and there could be 1 or 2 sprinkles in the morning hours, but I think the bulk of the rain will come late morning into the afternoon, and then that starts to move away. We dry out again early on Thursday, but then there will be a few showers in the afternoon returning to our area from Hornell to Bath. It looks like our models are indicating there could be a little bit of rain by Thursday evening. So for tonight, we're talking about readings that will be below freezing. 28 degrees in Elmira, 31 degrees in Corning, right at freezing in Wayland. And so again, those temperatures will be reached right around the midnight hour, and then they're going to start to rise with southerly winds returning. Highs tomorrow around 46 degrees in Elmira, 47 degrees in Corning, and then even warmer on Thursday with a high around 62 degrees, 51 on Friday, drier conditions, maybe some sunshine as well, and then a cold front comes in over the weekend. Our highs only around 42 degrees on Saturday. We drop down into the 30s by early next week with overnight lows in the 20s with more chances of rain and also some snow.
The FBI has a warning when it comes to holiday gift cards. They say thieves are coming up with ways to steal money right off the cards. Shawnette Wilson has more.
Got a lot of toys, yeah.
Tom Lee did a little Christmas shopping this evening at Target in Cherry Hill.
Are gift cards on your list at all this year for people?
Yeah, nieces, nephews, yeah.
But the FBI and other consumer experts warn gift cards are one of the top scams for hackers during the holiday.
Target was number 1, Google Play was number 2, and shockingly to me, Walmart was actually the least at only $6 million. So Walmart was actually the least in this whole scam.
Also on the top list, Apple. Tax expert Anthony Mangialuzzo says scammers are waiting for you to buy gift cards so they can have a payday.
Hackers are going into the store. They're either changing the codes on the gift cards so that when you hit that barcode, the hacker's barcode, they then get an alert saying, hey, this has now been activated, so let me go grab the money. Or just due to weak physical security, they're able to actually see the numbers and then just put monitoring software.
Mangialuzzo says it's also a possibility that cards are being compromised on delivery trucks before they get to store shelves. He says, consider this.
Do not buy physical gift cards anymore, right? Go on Amazon, go on Walmart, go on Target.com and purchase that digital gift card there, because there's a much less chance of their online system being hacked.
And if your card does get wiped,
you hope that some of these shops like Target, like Apple, might have a protection like your credit card. Right?
Chris Egan and his girlfriend Jessica Grossi don't buy gift cards at all.
Kind of like the high-tech society we live in, you got to be wary of everything.
And they say when in doubt about last-minute gift giving,
cash is king.
The White House wants more electric cars on the road, and a new study says doing just that could help save lives. Kevin Cork has more on the impacts of car exhaust and why it could soon be easier for you to own an electric car.
Fossil fuel emissions are dealing a heavy blow to people's health and wallets. And according to a new Harvard University study, slashing exhaust levels can not only save lives, but also promote a stronger economy. Researchers found decreases in emissions between 2008 and 2017 resulted in close to 8,000 fewer deaths due to air pollution and saved the economy $270 billion.
Electric cars, trucks, and buses, they don't produce tailpipe emissions that irritate the nose and eyes, that decrease lung function.
This data comes as the White House is accelerating its push for more Americans to abandon gas-guzzling vehicles.
The future of transportation in our nation and around the world is electric.
The Biden administration unveiling its plans Monday to build 500,000 public electric car charging stations across the country, using money from President Biden's $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill.
Nobody will be without the ability to charge their car close to where they live or work.
Officials hope broader access to charging stations will make it easier for more people to go electric, with the White House also stressing America needs to keep up with electric vehicle manufacturing and repairs to compete on a global scale. The White House wants fully electric vehicles to make up half of all new auto sales by 2030. Currently, they only make up roughly 3%.
An Arkansas waitress got the tip of a lifetime and then got fired over it. Will Moclair has the story.
So we are tipping a total of $4,400.
Friday, Ryan Brandt was one of two servers waiting on a party of more than 30 people at Oven and Tap in Bentonville. When it came time to pay the bill, each person left a $100 tip for a collective $4,400 for the two waitresses.
It was an incredible thing to be able to do. To see the server's reaction and to know what that meant for her and the impact it's had on her life already.
Grant Wise owns the real estate company Whitley. He called ahead to the restaurant to ask about their tipping policy to make sure everything would go smoothly, but he says things didn't go according to plan.
I was to give my cash over to my shift manager to be taken, and then that I was going to be taking home 20%.
Brandt says the restaurant asked her to share the tip with her coworkers, something she says has never happened in the 3.5 years she worked at Oven and Tap. Wise says pooling tips for those who didn't wait on his party was not his intention. He asked the restaurant to return the gratuity and gave the cash to Brandt outside. Brandt says after that, she was fired, leaving her no way to cover her bills.
It was devastating. I borrowed a significant amount of money for student loans. Most of them, were kind of turned off for the COVID 1.5 years, and they are turning back on January 1st, and that's like a reality I'm facing.
More than half of all U.S. hospitals are not complying with a new pricing transparency rule, according to a new study. Hospitals are required to show the prices for common services, such as colonoscopies and CAT scans, which allows patients to price check before visiting a facility. A study analyzed more than 3,500 hospitals from January to June of this year, the first 5 months of the implementation, to see how many hospitals complied. Results showed 64% of hospitals did not show any pricing data and therefore were not compliant. Researchers say facilities were 42% more likely to show their pricing when other locations in their region shared as well. If you fork over cash to friends and family, don't get your hopes up on getting paid back. A new Bankrate.com survey suggests you should avoid lending money to family and friends at all costs. The study found 7 in 10 U.S. adults say they have lent money to loved ones, and almost half of those who offered financial help had something bad happen as a result. The poll found 38% of lenders did not get paid back in full, and 23% say their good deed harmed the relationship. The survey of over 2,000 adults was conducted last month. Small business confidence ticked up in November. A major supermarket chain is ending some COVID-19 benefits to unvaccinated workers, and streaming service HBO Max hits a new milestone. Cheryl Cassone has more.
Small business owners were feeling more upbeat about the current state of the economy in November, but were cautious about the future. The survey from the National Federation of Independent Business increased slightly last month from a 6-month low back in October. The 48% of those surveyed had unfilled job openings, down slightly from the previous month, but more than twice the historical average. Kroger will no longer provide 2 weeks of paid emergency leave for employees who contract COVID-19 unless it is required by local jurisdictions. It is also adding a $50 monthly surcharge to company health plans for unvaccinated managers and other non-union employees. The new policies take effect on January 1st. Well, you'll be seeing a lot more Toyota electric cars in coming years, and the Lexus brand will be all electric in less than a decade. Toyota says it's going to be selling 30 electric models by 2030. That is twice what was previously planned. It's aiming for annual sales of 3.5 million fully electric cars by then, about a third of its current global sales. And just like that, HBO's reboot of Sex and the City is already breaking records. The network says the revival had the best debut of any series on HBO Max since its launch. It also increased viewership in the original series, which jumped 59% from last week. And Just Like That features Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis, all reprising their roles from the hit 90s show.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. In just over 10 days, Santa arrives to many homes across the world with cookies waiting. But how did that tradition begin? The American part of it dates to the 1930s with the Great Depression and parents wanting kids to show generosity and gratitude in hard times. And it's been continually passed down. British and Australians do it with sherry and mince pies. Swedish kids leave rice porridge. Americans, however, will overload the jolly old elf with tasty pastries. An estimated 300 to 336 million cookies, according to some sources. And don't forget all the glasses of milk as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.